The Yankees have figured out a home run hack and Iceberg's ice cold takes. Let's talk baseball.
Hello and welcome to the Infield Fly Guys Podcast. I'm Robert alongside me is Jose, and these Yankees have really figured out a new way to doctor the bat. Well, what do you think about this, Jose?
I mean, it's basically cheating.
You think
It's
so?
not. It's not right. I think in a second you're gonna tell us the official rule, but it's crazy that that no other teams have done this up until then, up until now, and if they have, it hasn't like really been made public. I've seen some things that some batters on some teams as of even like last fall had versions of these bats, but it really depends on the type of batter that these guys are because of the contact point. So it all has to do with their swing, and it just optimizes how well they're hitting the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the end of the day, you're bringing a little bit more density to a certain part of the bat, is how they're, at least they're describing it. So, you make that contact, you're making hard contact. And as we saw all weekend, I mean, not only were they hitting the ball out of the ballpark, record numbers, especially there on Saturday, they're just hitting the ball hard. I mean, you're seeing every ball they hit is just rocketing off the bat. We'll see what it's like, when they don't play in a minor league stadium, like the Yankee Stadium is with that right field porch. But we'll see what happens when they actually, get to a big ballpark, so to speak.
Yeah, and I know that's an argument that I see all the time of the small porch and all that short porch, but I always see Yankees fans yelling back and like, "Oh, the actual area of the inside Yankee Stadium is actually like I don't know, like the eighth biggest." Like because the alleys are so deep.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I kid with the minor
no,
league
yeah, yeah,
thing,
right, right,
but
right, right.
it's like it. I mean, it is definitely shorter, but now I mean, you got to factor in that the Rays are playing in a stadium with the same dimensions. I mean, Houston has their shorter porch in left field. I mean, all stadiums are different. That's one thing that makes baseball great is every stadium is just so much different. Really, no other sport really can talk to that except for maybe some soccer pitches around the world are different dimensions, but nothing like baseball where everything's different shapes.
Right. And how do you
So
feel if you're nasty Nestor going to your old team and just serving up meatballs?
what the first three pitches just boom, Goldschmidt, Bellinger, and then obviously Judge. Um, yeah, that's just crazy.
And
And
then
then Goldschmidt and Bellinger
Wells.
rather than yeah, that's correct. He hit the fourth one that inning, but the first three in a row, the first three
Yeah.
pitches were just gone off. Goldschmidt, who's first year Yankee, Bellinger, first year Yankee, and then Judge, who is not a first year Yankee, who
But
hit three home runs in that game, and then four throughout the whole weekend, and very well could have hit himself another one on Saturday. It was very close, but
yeah, it was right at the wall. I did
mhm.
see a post that before the game or whatever, they were showing off, or I don't know about showing off, but Nestor was showing that he had like his bleached his hair. It's like all in good spirits with like Aaron Boone, only to then do what he did.
I did see Nestor was looking a little bit more scruffy. Didn't quite look as nasty with the without just the mustache. So,
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
but anyways, that being said, back to the discussion on the bats. There, the rule does state that, and this is from the rule book. Rule 3.02 states that the bat cannot be more than 2.61 inches in diameter and 42 inches in length. So, I mean, realistically, if the bat is in those dimensions, I mean, it's just like a loophole. I mean, there's nothing that can really be done unless they rewrite the rule. And I feel like if this creates offense for baseball, the MLB is going to allow it and they're going to encourage it until it becomes like potential injury risk with balls being hit harder, like we've talked about for many years about possibly bringing aluminum bats into the game. So
Right, and I mean, I you would think that I feel like before it was like companies made bats and then the players picked from the bats that they made. And I feel like now with all this advanced analytics, you hear about like the pitching labs, and I've seen like videos online of like an Alex Bregman or Julio Rodriguez going into Marucci, like the
mhm.
Marucci bat lab, I guess you'd call, like in New Orleans, and they take a bunch of swings, they figure that out, and then they get them the best bat of the ones that they have for them. One could then imagine that they could take all those measurements and then just make them a bat with the denser contact point on. So like you would think that maybe there'd be like every player could have a custom bat for their swing with the different with where they hit it the best. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, I see you.
Um,
Not to digress too far, but this just popped into my head right now. You know how people are talking about have like a golden at bat, right, or something along those lines,
mhm.
where you get to a certain point in the game. What if you just have a golden bat? And that player gets to use an aluminum bat one time a game.
Oh,
Like one time a game, you say, okay, like Aaron Judge, you're up. Give him an aluminum bat.
but it has to be the same aluminum bat.
Each player, I guess, can have their own, but I mean,
Just
realistically,
any
I
like
mean,
BB core bat, like the
yeah,
college
yeah,
bat.
yeah. Why not? I mean, until someone dies. I mean,
Oh my god. Well, I mean the
and
whole
it would
point
make the
of
game more interesting, but
right. I mean the whole point of the BB core bats is they're supposed to react more like wood. So,
mhm.
but I mean, yeah, you have Aaron Judge being Aaron Judge hitting a missile with a bat right back at nasty Nestor. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about the safetyness aspect of that.
Yeah, that's a big reason why they don't have the aluminum bats in Major League Baseball is the safety aspect. But I mean, take us back to 1996, Sarah era. Give those players like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire metal bats. Dude, that'd be a lot of fun, but definitely some
Right.
fatalities in the bleachers.
Yeah. So I guess we'll keep our eyes out for any new teams or any more teams or any more batters that come out with these torpedo bats. I think is what the official name of, or at least the name
Hmm.
that has caught on social media is a torpedo bat. So maybe, and we'll see if it does lead to more offense throughout the league. I'd like to move on now to your cold takes. So we're gonna start introducing this new segment called Iceberg's Ice Cold Takes. Iceberg comes from Robert, whose last name is Berg. As you can see, his Twitter handle or X handle, Iceberg. Uh, in high school, we called him Iceberg. So it's Iceberg's Ice Cold Takes. What's your first ice cold take for this year?
First one here is I think in the National League we'll see a sleeper for the Cy Young. Now I'm not going to say specifically who, but I don't think it's going to be the people we're thinking. We're not going to see it be maybe a Yamamoto or a Shota or somebody who's been phenomenal for the last couple of years. Or I guess just last year for those two I stated. But like I mean, you've seen a lot of great guys come out. Like Mackenzie Gore was phenomenal on his opening day start. Kyle Freeland was great. Matthew Boyd was pretty good for the Cubs over the weekend. Um, Now, am I saying these guys are going to win? No, but let's give it an opportunity. Let's give it a chance. See some sleeper come in and be like, hey, I'm better than you think. So
Yeah,
that's my ice cold take. Is I
I
think
could,
we're going to have a sleeper in for the Cy Young running.
perfect. Yeah, I did watch Mackenzie Gore's outing. Um, And I told my dad, I was like, oh, look at this. Mackenzie Gore, Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler. Top three. Now, two of those aren't sleepers, I would say. Paul
Hmm.
Skeens, everybody, I think, I haven't actually looked at the odds, but I would assume he's pretty high up on the Cy Young odds. Zach Wheeler's always there. Um,
Hmm.
and then you have a guy like a Mackenzie Gore, like you just said, a Kyle Freeland.
I mean, you can add even though he did end up giving that big 2-run shot to Freddie Freeman, Jack Flaherty looked really good. I mean, he was mowing down the Dodgers. I think he was no hit through 5 innings.
Right.
And I mean, even 5 innings against that lineup, if you go no hits, that's that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. And
So
did you see them joking back and forth after he did give up the home run? Jack Flaherty
I did not see that.
threw something at Freddie Freeman standing at first base,
Oh,
and then Freddie like looked over at him and they like just smiled at each other. And then he got his
Freddie
ring
Freeman seems like the nicest guy.
right, and then he got his ring like the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. But
All right.
then anyways, on to my number two here. Um, you know what? It could just be he's a Cub killer, but let's put Eugenio Suarez in the running for the MVP.
I mean
I mean,
he
can't
he's
stop
on a
hitting.
roll. He before the series started, And if anybody watched the live stream, I did mention something about him always doing well against the Cubs. Uh, Long time Red, and then we got to get rid of him for a while when he went to the Mariners. Did he go anywhere else? Reds, Mariners, Diamondbacks. I think that's all he did. All he's done.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Right. So he didn't. And I don't know how well he did when he was with the Mariners. I think he was just high strikeout, high power guy. But this last series right now with against the Cubs, he wasn't just doing it for power. He was like on base almost every at bat, one way or another.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
So
and he hit what, 3 home runs in the series?
yeah,
So
he was right there with Judge for
yeah,
first couple days.
yep. I mean, there was a lot of good baseball this weekend for sure, and the power numbers were again off the charts as we have been seeing time and time again. So
What do you think for him? Top
um,
5, top 3?
for MVP voting,
Yeah.
um, you know what? This is a nice cool take. Let's go top three.
Okay. Here we go. Top
Top
3.
three. Top three.
Write it down.
All right, and then lastly, Cam Smith, spring training bust. He'll be back in AAA by the All-Star break.
So you think he's gonna get the Jordan Walker treatment?
At first, I think he'll be better. I really do, but I just don't think he was quite ready. I think spring training is a different ball game. Um, Now I didn't get to see too much of him this weekend, but I don't think he was, off the charts amazing. But I don't know. I just feel like he's not ready, and could be wrong. And obviously, when I talk about these young kids coming up, I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I want to see nothing but the best for any of these guys. But I just don't know if he's ready.
I mean, Cam Smith, the amount of hype he has gotten just like from the MLB account and just like everybody knows this kid's name already. Um, it's kind of crazy, and yeah, everybody's talked about his spring, and that's what got him. That's what helped him make the team after only playing like 30 games in the minors. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody has seen these tweets but Gage Workman for the Cubs, who was a Rule 5 guy for the Cubs from Detroit, he had just as good.
Gator working.
He had just as good of a spring as Cam
Mm-hmm.
Smith. Like the numbers are almost the same, and Gage Workman's on the bench right now for the Cubs. He's a role
Yeah.
player. So I mean that goes to show you, like spring means different things for different guys, and like you just said, like we hope for the best, but I would not be surprised with only 30 games under his belt that he does not, stick in that MLB and he is back in the minors.
Okay. And then I guess lastly, anything stuck out to you over this weekend, just in baseball in general? Anything that you thought was great? Anything you thought was not great? What's your thoughts?
Uh, Yankees doing Yankees things. As a Cubs fan, mad a little bit that we just kind of gave Bellinger away for money. When the idea at first that was like basically told one way or another to the Cubs fans was that money was going to be reallocated into other players, and really was not, or up until
Mm-hmm.
now has not been. And then just watching him do what he does with the Yankees with his two-strike approach, that is not how he got his MVP in 2019, right? That's not how he got his MVP in 2019. But as he's gotten older, he can slug, but he can also play small ball, sort of like an Anthony Rizzo with a choke up and just kind of like pepper the ball the other way. That's something that stuck out to me. And Miami doing Miami things against the Pirates. I think 3 walk-offs. I think they had 3
Yeah.
walk-offs. So
Is that Miami doing Miami
that's
thing
fun
or
to see.
Pittsburgh doing Pittsburgh things?
I guess Pittsburgh doing Pittsburgh things. Yes, because I don't know how many more times Miami's going to do that. They had a
Yeah.
hell of a catch a day or two ago. I don't know if you saw that. They like robbed a home run.
I think I did. I think I saw the highlight of that. I don't think I didn't watch much of that series live. I mean, that series didn't just stick out to me to
Right.
pay that close attention to.
Right. How about you?
Um, I really enjoyed the Mariners Athletics series. I thought the Athletics were hitting the ball very well. Um, Even though they did only take one of the games, two of the games. That was a 4 game set. Is that
I
correct?
think it was 4 game set.
Okay, and they split that. But overall, I thought that was one that really stuck out to me. It was just a great series. And Oakland looked great. Um, and I'd like to see how they do, honestly, against the Cubs this early this week in their new home in Sacramento. So yeah, I mean that's one thing that stuck out. And then nothing again bad in how the Cubs turned out, especially with that Sunday game where they just decided to crap the bed. Um, but yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. So I think with that, we're going to end it here. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. It really helps us out. We're really trying to get this show going. Thank you to those of you that do stick it out through the entire episode. We're going to be putting these out at least once a week. Thank you.